Hello, welcome back to my channel. What does it mean for a perfume to smell ancient? Not vintage, not old-fashioned, but ancient, like salt on stone, smoke in the air, and a tree standing at the edge of myth. And today I'm talking about ASKR by Jorum Studio. Let's begin with its name. ASKR is an Old Norse word meaning ash tree, and in Norse mythology, the world tree that holds up the entire cosmos is an ASKR. The first human being was also created by the gods from an ash tree. So the name ASKR is both the name of a tree and the name of a person, and the tree is human, and the human is tree. And this choice of name is already a statement. Jorum Studio is not trying to make a perfume with a bit of woody character. It is reaching for something older, something bigger, something more metaphysical, and more transcendental. Let's start with the structure of the scent. On Jorum Studio's official website, they do not use the usual framework of top, heart, and base notes, and instead they use impression and fade. To me, this is not just a change of wording. It suggests a different philosophy of perfume. The traditional top, heart, base structure comes from classical perfumery, and its hidden logic is that a fragrance has a main body. The top note is the opening, the heart is the core, and the base is the lingering ending. It understands perfume as a structured narrative with a beginning, a development, and a conclusion. But the framework of impression and fade says something else. When you first encounter something, you receive one impression of it, and then as it slowly leaves, it becomes something else. So in this picture, there is no fixed main body, and no layer is necessarily more important than another. I think the explanation of this alternative approach to scent design is important in understanding this following fragrance named ASKR. So let me give it a try. The opening of ASKR is made of ash, salt, Sichuan pepper, angelica, alamy, and galbanum. And this opening is very intense. It has a sensation almost like something piercing through the nose with burnt, bitter, salt-dried roughness rushing in all at once. And when you first spray it, you may freeze for a second. You may even frown. Interestingly, there is no obvious marine or aquatic material listed in the notes for the impression part. But almost everyone, including me and my friends who smells ASKR for the first time, they sense this ocean. But here, the ocean in ASKR is the trace of the ocean left behind on rocks after everything has been dried by the wind. And my own understanding is that ASKR is not describing the image of an actual ash tree. It is describing the condition the tree exists in mythology. And after the impression disperses, everything changes. As in Norse mythology, the gods created the first human from two trees, the first man from ASKR, the ash tree, and the first woman from Ambula. The etymology of Ambula is debated, but one of the most common interpretation is elm, E-L-M. If this interpretation is correct, then ASKR secretly contains both the first man and the first woman of the myth. ASKR in the name of the perfume and elm in the fade. The impression is ash, which is rough, forceful, direct. Elm appears in the fade only after the initial impact has passed. It is quieter and deeper. If the perfumer did this intentionally, then the structure itself becomes a narrative. Man on the surface and woman in the depths. The aquatic feeling created by driftwood and seaweed gives this fragrance an airy, distant, almost spectral quality. In the fade, the smokiness becomes more restrained, adding depth to the resins and balsams. Driftwood arrives by floating, but it may have floated for hundreds of years. Papyrus is dry, like something that once carried writing, but the writing has already blurred. Ambergris comes from the ocean, but it has spent more time in the sea than any ship. The entire direction of the fragrance moves from a frontal, primitive impact toward something narrower, quieter, deeper, and profoundly time-worn. This is a fragrance about nature, but not nature created around human understanding. It is not the nature like being framed, mountains in a photograph, planned hiking trail, sunset turned into postcards. That kind of nature is meant to be viewed from distance. There is always this distance between nature and us in this type of nature, but there is another type of nature, the kind that pulls you in whether you want it or not. Rising tides, smoke, the sound of a tree falling, salt leaving white marks on your skin. The kind of nature does not ask how you feel. It is vast, it is indifferent and without distinction. And ASKR belongs to the second kind. It does not give you a shore to stand on. The moment you spray it, you are already swallowed by this timeless nature, just like what happened in the Snowstorm painting by J.M.W. Turner in Romanticism. And after wearing this fragrance, one phrase came to my mind is, heaven and earth are not benevolent. They treat the world as straw dogs, which is a saying from a Taoist text. When Lao Tzu says this, he does not mean the heaven and earth are cruel. He means they are indifferent. Straw dogs were ritual objects in ancient China. Before the ritual, they were treated with care and respect. After the ritual, they were just discarded. And heaven and earth do not favor anything. They have no mercy, but also no malice. Everything comes into being and disappears within the same scale without exception. Just like the ash tree that supports the 9 worlds in Norse mythology, it is itself being eroded. The universe of Norse mythology is never merciful as well. The gods will die and the world will end. ASKR deals with enormous themes like the world tree, creation, Norse mythology, cosmic indifference. But what is impressive is that the fragrance can actually carry that ambition. It is not using concepts to sound deep. It truly translates these ideas into the design of the smell. This fragrance asks something from your nose. If you really like fragrances that are fresh, sweet, floral, easy, and conventionally pleasant, your first encounter with ASKR may feel challenging. But if you have spent some time in perfumery, if you have smelled strange, opinionated, difficult fragrances that do not try to please everyone, then I think ASKR may surprise you. Okay, that is for today's episode. I will see you next time. Bye bye.